Good day, fellow humans. Let me go ahead. I am exhausted, so let me just start with this. Is about to be like a psychic training, dream decoding, learn with me, psychic detective type video. I think eventually maybe all my videos will be like the same thing, but I am working towards what that formula is, which is exciting because the climb is the best part. Once you reach the top of the mountain, that's great, but it's like the peak. Now it's like the pieces are coming together, which leads to why I'm here. So I was actually gonna look for myself to figure this out, and I was like, I've been getting a increase in the number of people who are coming to me about their dreams and the symbolism and stuff, and then how it's starting to show up in the 3D. So for the last week, I'll say my dreams have been white, which is not something that usually occurs at all. For the last, dang, has it been 4 years now? 4 years, there's been a guy in my dreams all the time. So I didn't understand what it was at first. Couldn't see him because he was like, if you've ever seen the movie What Dreams May Come, uh, the way that the character Cuba Gooding Jr. first shows up to Robin Williams, like he was sort of blurry and he was always like right behind me, but he was really helpful. Best advice ever in the 3D, right? So after I found out who it was, like I could see him on a regular basis. I could all the time. It would be sometimes in Dream World where I would see him and then I'd see like, because he's sort of well known, I would see him like go past my timeline and he would look exactly like what I had seen the night before in my dream, but it's a new day and he's like out partying somewhere looking like that, right? So it would be like I'd wake up in different scenarios that I never understood what that was. Like sometimes I'm in the movie theater and I'm like, I think this dude is like taking me on dates in Dream World or something. But I would always get like led around by my hand. And I'm like, all right, this is the trippiest thing that's ever happened to me. I never have a consistent dream state where every night I come in there and dude's like, hey, honey, or wherever I pop up at. But then I would start to see the things on my timeline. Like there's this video of this woman who's completely like dazed. I guess that's the way you would say it. But the guy's just leading her around by her hand. And I'm like, this is really, really freaking trippy. So that started going like a consistent thing. I got used to it. And when I started asking questions about like what was happening, like how is this? The answer I got is that he is his astral self, his astral body. Remember, guys, we have like 12 different versions of us. We are just the center one, like the material, the one that is all of those pieces combined, right? So he was pulling me through portals, was the answer I got. Like the little things that I was perceiving as like dates because he would have it set up different, all in different ways. And one time he even took me on a walk through his 3D life just to show me why we hadn't met in person. Yeah, like he had all this stuff that he was taking care of in all these places he had to be. But it was just really like a lot. So this week it was nothing, but I kept waking up like can't explain, like I'm exhausted first and foremost. But it's like something important must have happened in dream world, but my chest just like I feel anxious and I can't put my finger on it. Yesterday, I woke up at 4 something, right? And I have this fucking John B song stuck in my head. Not the same one that's been following me for weeks. This one is called like Pretty Girl, right? So it's stuck in my head and it just keeps playing for like 2 hours and I'm trying to go back to sleep. I hear 211's alarm go off, right? He has his alarm thing on shuffle, so he gets a different song every day he wakes up. Why is the song that goes off on his alarm the same song, the same part that has been stuck in my head for the last 2 hours as I'm just laying there looking at the ceiling? So I come across the song on my YouTube recommendation, right? And it looked like a mashup video when I was going by, but then I realized it was posted by like John B's actual page. So I'm like, okay, let me watch the music video, right? Y'all, in the music video, this guy comes across this girl one time, and then after that, he keeps like seeing her in different past life scenarios, but it's his astral body. The whole video is first he goes in his room and he's still thinking about it, and then he lays down, and his astral self sits up, and his astral self is singing the whole song. So I'm like, this is the trippiest shit ever. But it's like, what am I supposed to do with this? So what I'm gonna do is I am going to show you guys, because I know a lot of you have cards and some of you are just getting into getting your own cards, to show you how to decipher your dreams or to answer questions or make your way through it, connect the dots about stuff like this. Because my dreams have absolutely been wiped this week. Now, keep in world, mine, keep in world, they could have something to do with uh, all the strange things going on in the world right now. I know sometimes when you get called into like a council meeting with those beings above, or when you get called in by the Most High, that stuff get wiped like immediately. It's like some things are not privy to your human until the time comes, but your soul needs to know so that it's still acting in the right order. When you go to sleep at night, the part of you that is this character goes back into the rest of the oversoul. So your oversoul is doing stuff and you're just going around with it. At the end of the night, the little piece that you again goes back in your body and your oversoul is still up there, but you have a small piece of the consciousness in here still like, what the fuck? Which is what I've been feeling deeply. So I am going to start with the Akashic. I will say this every time I pull this out. This is the best one to start with because it is connecting you to the Akashic records, which are the energetic library that hangs above the earth that tells each and every person their soul story. But it's also like the almanac for everything. You don't see how tired I am? It's just so weird. The almanac for every planet, every universe, like history and totality of our Milky Way, right? So I'm going to start here with why. I guess you always want to go who, what, where, when, why, how, as a good rule of thumb when you're trying to figure out any mystery. So why are my dreams being erased this week? Why are my dreams being erased this week? Never had this issue. Always, and I use my dreams as a good like thumbprint. Should I say thumbprint? As a good like way to know what's coming up. Like my dreams are usually prophetic in some way, shape, or form, or I get to see astral stuff and all that cool thing. So not having my dreams, I'm feeling a little bit like, although I did see a quote this week that says, the times that I get the most afraid are when I'm not hearing from God, but then I remember that the GPS is silent when you're going in the right direction. And I really like, oh, that's cool. But this is still weird. So, under construction, let me show y'all how this turned out. So that's rebirth. Rebirth was first. The next one's caught in the ruins. And then this last one was Queen of Keys. Under construction was the feeling I got. I had to reboot my actual computer yesterday. Like there was nothing I could do about it. It was time to do an update. Everything below is mirroring above in some way, shape, or form, which is why when you see something in dreams, you will get a confirmation, even if you can't remember, in your waking life in some way, shape, or form, and it'll feel like deja vu, like, hold on, something about this familiar, or just lining up in some way, shape, or form. So how about this, guys? So told y'all, like The Sims is my reliever of stress, the thing I play. I recently changed the settings. Now, keep in mind, I don't just have one sim. I have like 100 something sims, right? And I also found a little tab that gave me access to all the sims in the game. So I have the ones that I actually play, and then I go and I help out the other little ones. Like I help to develop their camera, give them a good life, and then I let them go back and be their own like regular little sim selves. I changed the settings recently, and I tried to change them back, but I can't. But Sim started dying. So it's like I had death frozen. And I didn't know because I'm still figuring out this Sims thing. I wasn't really like a gamer like that before. It's just something that started happening post COVID or since I've been stuck in this house on isolation for this whole rebirth process. But they were frozen. They weren't aging in regular time. Nobody was allowed to die. It was a very locked in thing. So when I went to go change and add the weather back in and all that stuff, y'all, every day I pop up, there are new babies being born, which was also something that was froze because I gave them autonomy. That's what I gave them. I was like, what would happen if they lived on their own? Autonomy is free will. They're dying left and right. They're popping out babies. They're changing their jobs. Like it's chaos in a strange way. And then I go to turn on the news, like our news in the 3D, and I'm like, okay, I can see the chaos happening here. It just doesn't matter what I do. It's still like some form of tapped in. It's about that time that y'all recognize that too. Your frequency, your person, your human magnetizes whatever it needs to see based upon its experience, its soul, no matter what. So when you go out in the street, the people that you attract, the music that you hear, the movies that you are drawn to, all that stuff is because your magnet is pulling it towards you and you are drawn to other things that are a match for your magnet. Been having trippy experiences in person too. Like about, I want to say 2 months ago, went out to eat, to celebrate something for my daughter. And while we're there, we see a woman that looks just like her grandma and her great grandmother having lunch, right? With us. I'm like, oh, look, they're doppelgangers. They must be coming to visit. 2 days later, who came to visit and eat? So it's like what was once confined to here is starting to find ways to demonstrate itself in the 3D. Something that we all need to be aware of because I'm getting that it's going to pick up this year. I've been talking about my gifts updating for weeks and me not understanding like why now, but we are 9 days into the year and something has happened every day. That's what I predicted last year, but I also said that this year was going to be make or break in the faith department. Like so much stuff is going to happen back to back to back that some people are going to ground down in their faith like, ooh, I know what this is, time to go home to God. I can't even do it, this is the end, right? And then some people are going to be more interested in saying like, I'd rather let go of the rope, like this is too much, life is too much, this is so depressing. So for a good majority of us, I guess those of us getting upgrades, we are supposed to be pillars of faith, pillars of light, still holding space for others. You never know who's having a bad day. And the difference you saying something could mean for that person in this case, in this year, when all of this is going on, will make the difference between life and death. You never know when somebody's been pushed to the brink. So, okay. Dreams being erased because being rebirthed. The Queen of Keys just stood out to me because I just saw something the other day, one of my messages, it told me I got the keys to something. What do I got the keys to? Is that Future on the course? I got the keys, keys, keys. What do I have the keys to, guys? Must be something cool if I'm not allowed to know. Oh. Okay, so it would appear that there are a lot of people's souls that are in transit, right? Not only the ones I tell you, like the ghosts, because they have made themselves more prevalent, I guess you will say in my life. They're like, no, we're still here. There was literally a reader that went by me. I told you my readings weren't resonated anymore, but it said the ghosts of your heroes are still with you and rooting for you. And I was like, oh guys, y'all are still there. Ever since I went to LA, it's like I have a tribe. Like whenever something is going down in Hollywood, I get a ping and it's because I can't. Once a group of disembodied souls realizes somebody can hear them or recognize them or help them with their mission, they pretty much just hang around, right? Which is what this is. This is me like every day. Keys. That's another thing about channeling, guys. If you get too attached to the message or the outcome, it messes up the channel and like constricts it. So while you're doing this, you have to be like all Yoda an extra unattached. Like, what is the message coming through me? Like, even though it's for me, I can't be attached to the fact that it's for me. Where I'm going to be like, hell no, because a lot of the stuff that has happened during the last 4 years really triggered my blackness. Like, oh hell no, we're not doing this. But clearly, it was meant to be for a reason. So, the souls that are stuck in transit, I am able to help release them so they can go home. But this is not only applying, because look at this. Okay, I'm gonna show you this way. It was the ghost one first and then clearing the road, but you see what's on the other side of the road. It's home, right? Everything's lit up at the end. And then the last one is this where they're stuck in the garden. They're trapped. But the covenant, the agreement. So when I'm saying that there are souls stuck in between, there are ghost souls and there are human souls. And by human souls, I mean people who are living every day now, walking around feeling empty because they have disassociated from themselves at some point. So they're living, but they're living outside of themselves. Hmm. I picture a lot of baptisms, but a lot of suicides also this year. So what does this have to do with my dreams? Being re being reconstructed. Okay, all right, I know what I need to do. I need to ask, how is this going to affect the 3D? Because that's mostly what you need to know. When something's in a dream like, hey, how is this going to play out here for me? What do I need to be aware of? What do I need to be looking out for? How do I prepare myself? So now we're on the what. What does this mean in the 3D? What does this mean in the 3D? Michael. There are two Michael cards here. Okay, so that lets me know it has something to do with dudes. And yes, there can be female incarnations of Michael, but in this case, dudes. Because for the last couple months, I've been aware that there's a heavy, heavy attack going on the guys, on the masculine. Like if you can screw over the guys, you leave like the women essentially unprotected. It sounds Neanderthal, but it is what it is. You leave the women and the children unprotected if you could take out the mental health of the men. And that just leaves a bunch of single women. Y'all, Archangel Michael is in charge of war. What would happen if a whole bunch of guys had to go to war? Single mothers and children left to defend themselves. How is this coming out in the 3D? Wow. Well, it gave me some more intuitive cards, right? That's your third eye and your crown. So I'm going to say this has to do with, because my Archangel Michael is my guardian angel, which is why I always say, even though it's very controversial, people hate it, there are two sides to Archangel Michael. He is a dual entity. He is the morning star and the evening star. Okay, it just depends on which side of Mr. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde you're gonna get. But he is both guys. But this is like the reason that I see a dude in my dreams is because he's connected to the Archangel Michael energy. Like he's the avatar, like that I'm meant to have in my life, I guess. Because there could be a million people that have a Sophia signature and they end up with like a Michael avatar. It's just a matter of which one matches with your gift set and your skill set. And today I woke up and there was a video about the avatars coming that matched the video I made yesterday about the avatars coming. And I knew nothing about their video. So I wonder if some of these people who have been disconnected from themselves will be used. Like the ones who want to tap out will be used like the show Travelers on Netflix. So in that show, somebody had a scheduled death date, but at the moment they were supposed to die, a more intelligent spirit with a mission entered the body instead, like swap outs, because that person's life could mean more if used by one of these outside things. As freaking weird as it is, I'm getting like whatever's going on in the dream world is about these swaps, about getting some of these souls into bodies, including this one, which would be like one of the most important soul sets to get in some bodies because he's in charge of war. Like that's the commander. So there are some things going on with the kingdom of light that are about to come down into the 3D because the kingdom of darkness is being revealed, no longer hiding itself. No, the corruption is no longer going to be hidden, is what I'm getting. So I did a pull for me, but it like ended up being like something that was connected universally. Okay, so some of us are preparing a home. A song from Harriet just started playing in my head. My daughter, like, she got really drawn to the Harriet soundtrack. Stand Up is the name of the song. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to our brand new home. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. For this whole time I've been going through this. Now, the first time I was psychically shown and then led through some stuff in the 3D, it was to be informed that the apocalypse was going down. But after waiting so many years, I really like was like, all right, whatever. Maybe like psychic stuff just comes too early until the first week of this year. And then all the stuff that I had like seen and got like emotional about forever ago was happening. I'm like, I'm just waiting for the Hollywood sign actually in flames. They have an AI version of it right now. I've been seeing it in my head for years now. And every time I hear I See Fire by Ed Sheeran, I always see LA on fire. So if anybody has a house that was there that got burnt down and you get like insurance stuff back, don't rebuild your home there. Just go somewhere else. I keep saying that for the people who are about to get deported too. It seems horrible off top, and I'm like, this is horrible. It's deportation. You're moving these people out. But knowing what's about to happen in the United States, because to say it simply, it's built on an Indian burial ground. And I don't know if y'all ever seen a movie about something built on top of an Indian burial ground, but there are certain things that sort of kind of have to happen karmically. The United States North Node is in the eighth house. The eighth house is the house of punishment. Uh, their North Node return is in about 18 months, maybe 2024, but some stuff is coming up and it's starting now. Inauguration day is going to be wild and it is going to be it's about to say a sign of things to come in some way, shape, or form. So let me just go with it because I don't even know exactly what it's going to be. But there's a lot of bullshit. That's the best way I can say that. Y'all know I've been trying to stop cussing, but there's no other term for that. So souls are being pulled in to the avatars that were dormant. So a lot of you might also feel tired or confused or be having your dreams swiped, but it's in alignment with those who are a part of the Archangel Michael tribe. If you are a part of that tribe, you are a soldier. Bottom line, you're about to do something that is soldier-esque. So I did. Huh. I'm trying to remember who what. I need to write these things down because my mind can never hold them. Okay. Why? Hop around. Why are they being erased? Gotta be immature sometimes. Like, just give me answers. It's like to keep me encouraged in the meantime. They are. I need to know who they is. Who is this? Who's wiping my dreams? Before I get the answer to that, who is wiping my dreams? It says researcher, but isn't that very like scientific, right? I just think that's scary as shit. To think that, all right, we are down here. Hold on, because that just really like, and that's what I mean by triggers. Like you might not remember, but because something is being planted subconsciously, like you could be out of the house and see a certain dog and be like, but it's because like that dog was a part of your dream the night before and it was something special. Even just pulling this card just made me like emotional, like my stomach is doing some stuff. We are in these formats solidly, right? There are some beings that are not in this body, but they still sort of operate like us. They're just like a smarter, invisible version because they are in the 5D and we are in the 3D. We cannot see them, but they can very much see us, right? Imagine that there is a being that can walk through your house, is waiting there at the door for you astrally because he can see you all the time. And he's impressed because he walks through people's houses and does scientific stuff all the time, but you noticed him. Because that's sort of kind of the feeling I got. He's like, you can see me. And I'm just so, I don't want to say fearless because that's definitely not it. But I think life pushed me so far with the things that they were trying to show me that I'm not gonna act in a regular shocked emotion. So even when I realized like somebody was talking to me, because it would happen in my waking state and in my dreams, and I'd just be like, who's talking to me? Right? So now I'm like up at 3 in the morning sometimes looking like the kid from paranormal activity. Like, I'm not talking to you anymore. I don't talk out loud, but you know. Uh just imagine that there's a being like I'm trying to think of a example. I guess I could say 11 and I'll worry about that. 11 from Stranger Things, just like somebody in another realm has been experimenting on me. The other cards, guy, just so y'all see this, and I'm not alone. The next one that went with it after the researcher, right? Researcher was first. And the words at the bottom are explorer of truth, exploration, study, rigor, experiment, right? That was first. Next, we got this bootleg Timothy Chalamet. This says magician, channeler of power, potential magic, illusion, and manifestation, right? The next one was madman, embracer of madness, frenzy, chaos, unruly, and possession. And the final one, lover, right? All things that have sort of showed themselves over the last couple of years as I am dealing with just waking up in my dreams weird all the time. I'm realizing now that it's like not a dream. It looks like a dream to us because it's what happens while we're in sleep realm, but it's us in another reality, whatever reality our souls go to or are magnetized to by being smarter than us. Like, hey, there's this human down there. I'm just gonna hang out with it for a while. Is the energy like I'm feeling? For once, guys, I cannot think of a movie that I can reference for this. If y'all have one, that would be great. I'd love to watch one. No, nothing is coming to mind. It's a blank board. because that's really what's happening. Like I'm going to sleep at night and this dude is like super smart. I can tell when he's sending me messages in the day. It's like a lot of time it's really good advice. Like it's the plugs. Like I'm ahead of some stuff because of this information. But in some ways it makes me feel like a guinea pig. Like is he testing my aptitude? The message I got for like why was like to keep me encouraged in the background, to keep like a certain mindset going, even though there is no person in the physical. If I'm going to be honest, if I was to read this like it was somebody else's reading, I would say to keep you attached. Like imagine if you had, well, that madman is in there. Imagine you had like an ex you tried to break up with, right? And he's just like not getting it. So his refuser, is that a word? Refuser. I think it's refusal to accept that y'all aren't going to be together. Instead, he hypnotizes you. So maybe that's what it is. Because look what was at the end here. It's the things behind him that got my attention. And it says wizard. One of the cards on here was magician. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this because something is going on in my dreams and it's making me feel weird in my daylight. Uh, Imagine your ex could like hypnotize you while you were asleep to keep you stalled into place. It's like there are two separate things going on right now. I think, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I think I might be severely underestimating, per usual, my gifts. Because if I allow myself to think of it outside of me, I'm like, okay, this being, this spirit, this soul has tried to explain to me, like, and I was like, cat, bro, that I came from his imagination, that he's been with me since I was a child. He just always wiped it. But I did used to write stories I shouldn't have been writing as a child at all, about a guy. Now that I know some of my past lives, some of those stories were written based upon those things. It's just a stall. Who, what, where, how? Like, how am I being stalled? And I guess then that would be like, why am I being stalled? How am I being stalled? Imagine a creature that knows you better than you know yourself because they created the specs on you. And that's the thing that just came through my head. Like somebody created you in the Soul Museum. And this is a horrible reference. What just went through my mind was Gargamel. I think it's the second Smurfs where he creates his own Smurfette because he was sort of salty he didn't have one. But that's what I'm sensing. Like created you and watched you your whole life and like knows all your gifts and stuff because like y'all have been together in other lifetimes. Knows you better than yourself because you have amnesia right now. It's sort of messed up, right? So remember, I put this deck back. Okay. In my contract, I'm sorry, in my natal chart, Saturn is directly conjunct Michael. Same degree. There is no space. 21st degree, right on top in my fourth house. You know, in wrestling, when you got to tap somebody in, that's what all of this feels like. There is some covert. I probably should make a video about it then, right? But there's only like 100 of y'all to watch this, so it's cool. Like there's 70,000 on the page that are more into text, but then some of y'all are diehard video fans, like y'all get it. But I think that's how it's supposed to go. There is a series, there are a series of activations going on in Dream World to bring in the soldiers. And somehow, in some way, shape, or form, like God made me, but yeah, no, that's like, yes, God made us all, but sometimes individual beings are able to create things. But then wouldn't that be like your child? This world does have really an issue with that whole daddy thing, but like maybe there is something to that. I asked somebody this question recently, and I hope this isn't a trigger for anybody or doesn't bother anybody, but I was like, hold on. Saying in the garden that Enki created Eve, right? And he raised her, but he had always created and raised her to be his wife, right? Technically, it's his daughter, but it was never like his biological or actual daughter, but he raised it the whole time. So what do you call that? I'm like, is that grooming? If you knew the whole time this thing was going to be your spouse? This is very Jacob and Renesmee. And upon seeing that, I was like, oh, hell no. That is not it. Like he stayed with her the whole time, like just, oh, making sure that she ain't get with nobody else. I am feeling very much like if there was a crowd on the other side of the camera or somebody who like knew the answers as I was being led through them, they would be like, mm-hmm, you're getting it now. Like, but what? So I'm gonna throw where in there because I have this maps deck. Where is this leading? Where am I being led? For the record, this is what happens during a session when you're trying to do detective stuff. Just go with what questions come through, whatever movies, whatever channels come through, because it's all leading you to the answer you're trying to get. Currently stuck wishing. The intention. Do I have these the right way? So the first one was intention, follow the leader, stuck in the mud. Okay, commitment. Clarification, please. I just had one of my own like ego blocks. That's what I call them. Ego blocks where you can't read because there's something like right at the, but you're like, nah, nah, no way. Clarification, please. Hold on, I should use another deck for the clarification. I have some new decks in my cart, guys. I'm just waiting till it's a more fiscally responsible time for me to buy them. So let's see. Clarification, please. And I use the star codes. Since I used the map there, I figured I should use the celestial map here. So clarification, please. Sixth house, Chiron, activate. Opposing fifth house. Okay, so things are being held in my subconscious. Things regarding to my health, because the sixth house is your everyday life, your routine, the things it takes in order to keep these human bodies functioning properly, right? Chiron is the wounded healer, but in this case, it says heal on the bottom, but it's what needs to be healed. Activation. Now, what have I been working on all this month? Sorry, I'm trying to get the focus back. Being fiscally responsible, like I was just saying. Changed my whole schedule. This sleep thing is messing me up a little bit, though. Changed my whole dieting thing, like the way I grocery shop. So yeah, no, everything in my day-to-day life has changed lately. And the sun is in the sixth house. Interesting. So activation. because it was working against my desire to do what I wanted to do in my career. It feels like my fear of being seen, working through my fear of being seen is being done subconsciously because there is something else I have to do in my career that will require me to comfortably step out of my shell. So that means that this is saying, the intention to lead me out of being stuck into some form of commitment or contract. Well, what's the contract? I hope y'all appreciate this because I know when I was going through my awakening, and the reason I started this whole page is because I was looking for information. Like, hold on, why aren't more people talking about this? Why is there not more information? Somebody teach me how to do A, B, C, and D. And from that desire to be the change that I wanted to see, I'm like, all right, there's nothing that's really like hitting this. Maybe I should do it. And here we are, right? But I wish there had been. There are plenty of readers, but I wish there are people who had shown me like this. Like, how do I walk myself through my own reading? Because it can get confusing. Like, you'll ask one question and you'll be like, I don't get it. And of course, you know, to pull clarifiers, but understand that everything that comes through your skull from the moment that you tap in is connected to what you're asking questions about. Don't go down or stop going down the rabbit hole until you feel certain that you have the answer and you can feel it. I say all the time, it's like when you have an itch that you have to scratch, you know when you're done scratching and you're overdoing it. You stop when that feeling is like, okay, it's gone. And that feeling has been in my chest for days, like, oh, there's something I need the answer to. There is something bothering me. There's something I am emotional about. Like, what is going on here? So, what is the contract that I am being prepared for? Don't give me no other answers. This is creepy, guys. Does that not look like a keyhole? I got the keys, keys, keys. And it says the gatekeeper in the Enchanted Emporium. If I am going to be, and it makes me emotional every time I think, like, what do I have the keys to? It's like there is something really important that I am forgetting. When I first got back from LA, I kept getting the message, and this was from like other people in the spiritual community that I just made friends with, and they're like, "Yeah, you weren't supposed to leave LA." And I'm like, "The fuck y'all mean I ain't supposed to leave LA?" That's sort of weird to say to somebody. When I went to go like tap in to see what it was, like they needed me over there because there was a group of people that had to do a ritual that was opening something, and I was important for it. At the time, I didn't know what none of this was, and I'm like, "That's weird. That sounds like something God would not want me to do," and I'm still standing by that. But I'm starting to wonder if it doesn't require me to be there physically, because I done got jumped spiritually a lot since. Magic is a trip, but dealing with otherworldly beings is a whole nother ball game. Like realizing there's a whole nother life going on above this realm that's built on top of this one. I'm jammed up because I have since I got jumped that one time, and the whole time when I was getting jumped, they were just talking about you have the keys. Like, what do I have the keys to, guys? Leave me alone. I've been on a form of spiritual house arrest. I used to travel all the time. I was barely home. I got benched. When I talked to God this week, when I was in meditation, I was like really calm, and I just got the feeling that you were learning how to use your gifts in a way that they are indivisible from you. Like when you go out in the world, you're going to notice A, B, C, and D. You're going to feel A, B, C, and D because you have spent the last 4 years training nothing but your gifts. And I really haven't had anything to focus on but this. It's like every day, all day. But like I'm going to need that when I finally get back out. But knighthood. What's the contract? This is still that opening the gate thing. And yeah, I don't do rituals. Like I know we talk about candle stuff all the time. It's not the same as what I was getting the message that they needed me for. I ain't like that. That was like a bunch of hooded people chanting to open a portal to release some stuff. I don't like that. Like even when I watch any Catholic movies, I'll be like, mm-mm. As soon as they start talking Latin, mm-mm, I don't do that Dominu stuff. Mm-mm. As soon as I hear that, I cover my ears because I don't know what it's saying, but clearly it activates a lot. So my dreams are being wiped because there is some stuff being planted into my subconscious. Horrifying, right? Uh, in preparation for my gifts being used for something that I have been prepared for since before I even arrived. Even my existence here had something to do with things planned before I arrived. So I just started hearing what was I made for, Billie Eilish, but that's been stuck in my mind for a while. Like myself's been trying to remind me, there's something you're supposed to do that's kind of important, sis. It's we just need to jog your memory. So why am I here? Why am I on Earth? What am I supposed to be doing? That's probably too many questions. What is the detail that I am missing? See the transformation in solitude, right? Metamorphosis in solitude. Like the only thing that's really changed since I've been in isolation is my ability to understand that's happening here. Now it is sort of second nature. Before it was like, hold on, I think A, B, C, and D is happening. Now I'm like, nah, oh, look, there goes that. Like we've been, my family and I, because we all have a different like set of gifts. Now they'll come to me like, hey, I think there's about to be a flood somewhere because I saw A, B, C, and D. And then 2 days later, oh, there goes Brazil, flooded. Like that's sort of become the tone in this household. It feels like all of this stuff is pending. You know, what's the most bothersome part? Like, why are they not trying to tell me why I'm here? Why I've been sitting in this house? Why I got jumped? What do I have the key to? I need a better deck for that. I guess maybe in some way I'm not allowed to know because it keeps getting done subconsciously. But LA is kind of on fire right now, and that's where I was supposed to be, and I didn't go. Like it's so funny. I'll see it everywhere. Like it'll be LA license plate. It'll be songs about LA. 211s all the time. Like we really need to go back to LA because he's more susceptible to the waves or whatever's coming out. But I'm like, bruh, I don't think there's nothing good for me there. Nothing that I actually want to do. Mm-mm. And so I'm looking for another deck. Okay, I shall go with the African Goddess Rising. What will using these keys do? What will using these keys do? I got the keys, keys, keys. Wet. Well, nothing good could come of that, right? Oh, Imagine all the people ended by Hollywood that nobody knows were ended in Hollywood are suddenly able to speak to everybody, not just people who can hear, but like they can send their message everywhere. They can send it to anybody, even people who don't know that their gifts are active. Because that's immediately what I sense. Aaliyah popped up last week. It was a video like she had just woke up, and I'm like, well, that makes sense because there's been a lot of stuff that's leaking in the background that is going to be very shocking uh, to the masses. That's exactly what this all just said. Like, what would the keys open? The keys would let those who have been silenced speak up. This is live out loud, and this is speak up. But even this looks like that ritual thing I was talking about, right? Radical rebirth. Will that set their souls free if they're finally able to speak their truth? That would make sense, right? Because I'm talking like people y'all didn't even like Robin Williams. Everybody's like he killed himself because he found out he had a disease. That's not that's not the whole story. And it would be nice if the other parts of his story came out. I just like it doesn't matter like how you feel about a soul, they're gonna pop up anyway. Because I heard like and Bob Saget. And you saw me roll my eyes though, like not you, Bob. Like you deserved. What you got? Because anyways, there are lots of people that appear to have died one way, but that's not how they died at all. They were offed. And it seems like those people who are still disgruntled about their exit, that want peace for their souls, would like to be released from purgatory in that strange in between limbo of the veil so they can get justice. And where is their main area of issue? Los Angeles is where the beef is at. Okay, so hold on, I didn't grab my phone. The cast of Glee, the three people that died in Glee. Like, where did they pass away? Did all of these people die over there? I didn't think about the commonality. Aaliyah did not. But that wasn't one of the ones that I was originally picking up. Remember, I said she just woke up last week. The other ones that I picked up were like Kurt Cobain. He offed himself in Washington, but something had already occurred when he was in Los Angeles. He was already detached from his body. Where was Brittany Murphy? That's one of the first people I seen. Michael Jackson. Oh my goodness. The first time like I felt that energy, it was crazy. Like it just hit me and I just started boohooing out of nowhere. Like I guess it was the purity of the energy. It was just like overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, there's no way this thing touched children. There's no way this energy could have touched a child. It was like a child's energy. So I'm just gonna find peace within myself. But with this radical rebirth thing, right? That my oversoul is capable of some amazing things. Like what I'm doing in this body is like 2%. I was going to say 5 to 10, but 2 just popped in my head. I'm like, shit. It's only doing 2% of what my soul is capable of. But in my dreams, my crazy madman, lover, scientist, husband person in the astral form is modifying me so that some of those things start coming into the body, into the 3D. Like I'm finally about to get out of this stagnant phase. Okay. I'm not participating in no ghost relieving ritual. Maybe there's something like up in the astral, although there are people who wanted something like that to be done here in the 3D. If I'm going to be honest, I do not think that those cabal people or those, what you call them, Illuminati people, whatever. I don't even think that's their name. That wasn't originally their names. That was originally like the name for the enlightened ones, for the secret schools who shared this knowledge with people. They stole it and turned it into something else. So that's not even really who or what they are. They are just vampiric entities that don't actually have their own powers. They have to summon demons and stuff, and they need the power of those who actually have innate gifts in order to keep their organization running. They would not want these ghosts released. If anything, what they would want is a ritual that's similar to what was seen in the movie Us. They would want to move people's lower selves or lower level entities that have made them promises into the bodies of the people who have been participating in these rituals. Either thing is sort of, somehow, I don't know, maybe y'all will get card readings as weird as this, but I think somebody needed like some of this info. So can I wrap this up with a clarifier? Anything else I need to know about the erasure of my dreams and what's going on? It's like they've done a good job of not scaring me too bad thus far because I'm still alive and not in the psych ward, and they would like to keep it that way. So therefore, some things are deleted, although I still have to be prepared for what's coming. And I could have just screamed, guys. Very, very occasionally, I'll be sitting here and I'm like, yo, I handle all this very well. I ate this up. Right? Because there's been a lot of wild stuff that happened. And if you would have asked me like 10 years ago if any of this happened to me, what would be my reaction? It wouldn't have been what it actually was. Like when I realized we were about to be attacked, like I sensed that there were a large number of dark entities outside of my home a couple of years ago. I put everybody in one room. We like scrubbed down the room to make sure like it was a prayer room. And my bedroom was pretty big back then. Make sure it was like consecrated and protected. And then we all baptized, like took all the kids baptized and baptized like us, like to make sure if anything goes down, our souls is marked for up there, not in limbo. Like baptism is the way that you claim that God has your soul no matter what happens going forward. You are property of the Most High. uh, I would have never realized that any of that would have kicked in when difficult situations arise. But that's when your higher self takes over. It's like the human part of you shuts off and you're like, all right, we have to do A, B, C, and D. My mom keeps writing me about the movie The Long Kiss Goodnight. It's an old Samuel L. Jackson, Gina Davis movie, guys. What's the theme of this movie? An assassin during her last mission got amnesia. She got shot up or something. So she restarts a life somewhere else and she thinks nothing of it until one day she's like in a parade doing something. She's on the television. Then all her old enemies are like, yo, there goes that bitch. But at that time, then her memory starts coming back and she's like, oh shit, I done started a whole family and I'm really just an assassin. So I'm not even prepared for that. But I could have screamed because what does that say at the bottom of that, guys? Hidden keys. Hidden keys. Spirit link. One last move. This is probably why I just play The Sims in between time, because there's some real weird stuff going on. There's real, I can't even get it out. Weird, really weird celebrity stuff that happens all the time. Like I know it before it's gonna happen, and I'm like, why is this happening? But it turns out the people that are up there in that stage and that soul tribe are like the first draft. The second draft, the ones that will be a part of that renaissance I keep seeing this upcoming with art, music, and film just really hitting the peak, are in the background. It's like the first round went forward, and if anything like happened, like they got compromised or they got stuck in them deals or anything, the second wave comes forward to remind them of their light, but also to inspire the third wave of volunteers so that when they step into their power, they'll just already have it in them. This is like how Michael Jackson had that whole era where he created music. And then like the next generations, we got Neo Jackson, Chris Brown Jackson, Justin Bieber Jackson, Usher Jackson. Like the whole next wave was based upon that first one that set the template. That's what I'm getting here. But hidden keys, after I've been talking about keys in a million other decks, that's creepy. So It says, put things together piece by piece to reveal the bigger picture. Spirit link, stay aligned with your highest dreams and ideals to find success. One last move. You have come far on your journey. Keep going and you will soon see what you have accomplished. I just heard it's already done. Okay. And that part's classified. Hence why the hidden keys. It's already done. On the opposite sides of the cards, because these are dual message cards, right? The spirit link one says divinely guided, and the one last move one says almost there. Very possibly. I'm just gonna go with that's what I'm feeling. Some souls have not been in their body already because they would have been recognized before now. And then one big alien move, a bunch of them are entering and suddenly see clarity, magic opportunity, unity blooms, new heights. A bunch of the stuff that I have been talking to you guys about in these videos is about to start coming together in strange ways. What do I mean by that? The stories that come out, the rumors becoming more solidified about stuff, the nastiness of what's going on behind the scenes in politics and war, just pure corruption stuff that needed to be seen in order for the people to stand up for themselves. Like the people have been complacent before now because they trusted their governments. Once they see that the government does not care about the people, they will begin to try to take the power into their own hands. And when that time comes, even before, there are going to be some people who are riling this energy up. Like, we don't have to take this, like, like instigators, but instigators for people fighting for humanity. Okay. My Xbox was on and then. Okay, so that's enough of that. It went back to like its main screen and is now playing cozy cafe music. That made me feel like in the Oscars when they're like, wrap it up, bitch, wrap it up. So that's all I can tell y'all. Didn't know that this was going to be that type of thing or it was a coded message meant to trigger certain people who are going through the same thing. But like I said, the last couple days, I've been feeling like a puppet, like I'm just doing what I'm being told to do without knowing I'm being told to do it. But I'm like, it's obedience. So wrap it up. Have a good day, guys.